Hey there, welcome to another episode of HomeTech.fm. Jason Griffin here, so happy to have you with us for this very special CEDIA wrap-up episode. I'm joined, as always, by my partner, Seth Johnson. Seth, how's it going?
Good, man. Did you make it back all right and recover?
I did. Yep. You know, CEDIA's, it's a big one. Burning the candle on both ends out there, and definitely took a couple days just chilling out, getting caught up, and excited to be sitting down recording with you.
Yeah, it's amazing how much work is left after on Monday when you get back. It's like, really, did all this? The world keeps moving and it all just piles up, and then you come back Monday and it's like, oh,
no
man.
doubt. Overwhelming.
Yep.
It's like, oh wait, I still have to work.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
But anyways, yeah, I'm excited. We're gonna do actually what we did last year. We were prepping for the show and getting some things together here, and just looking at everything, and you know, figured that really we got a lot of ground to cover here. We got a ton of sound bites from the show floor. Just saw a bunch of things that we want to talk about, and so we're going to actually divide this coverage into 2 episodes, which we did last year as well. And I think that that'll be good. Give us some time to get through these sound bites and share our thoughts on them. So I look forward to diving into that with you. Yeah,
I think today we've got kind of like the integrate. Well, they'll both be good for integrators, but like today is like the luxury RSM show, and next week we'll be covering kind of more the DIY / meeting in the middle, and just interesting products that we happened across on the show floor, because there were definitely quite a few of those.
Yeah, and I look forward to that. There was a number of sort of quirky or unique products that I spotted on the floor, and those are always kind of fun, you know, to come across those at CEDIA. Obviously, you're out there looking at things for your business and trying to figure out, how you can do some things better. But it's fun just to see those unexpected things out there as well.
Yep. This week, we just want to give a shout out to a new patron that came on board at the $5 level. And at that level and up, you get a shout out here on the show. So Luke Newland, want to say thank you very much for supporting the show. If you're interested in supporting the show and seeing how Luke did that, go over to HomeTech.fm/support. And there's a couple of different ways that you can support the show there. And take a look at them. One of them is the patron page, which Luke took advantage of. And a couple of other people, you know, we don't really list all of them off. But a couple of other people, while we were at CEDIA, were joining up. And I was trying to keep up with that and do the show's prep and all that at the same time. It was kind of getting crazy. But I want to say thank you to everyone who actually reached out and supported. But Luke, you get a shout out here on the show, so thanks very much.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate that. So without further ado, Seth, let's jump in. We want to, like you alluded to, we're going to talk a little bit about, we're going to come right out of the gate with the luxury products. I mean, I think that we've touched on it, and CEDIA really, a lot of attention does get focused in the last couple of years on the influx of kind of lower price and DIY type products onto the show floor. And I think that's an important story, and it's one we're going to get to and talk about on the next episode. But at the end of the day, I think at its core, CEDIA really is a show very much about luxury, high-end solutions, very integrator-friendly stuff out there. And let's just jump right in. We've got a bunch of sound bites here, and we want to make sure we get to all of them. So let's start. I know you, Seth, you stopped by the Control 4 booth, and you talked to Brad Hinsey. So maybe you can kind of tee this clip up.
Yeah, I talked to Brad about a couple of things that were interesting. One, of course, is the Amazon Alexa announcement where they're going to be integrating with Amazon. And the other one I asked him about was the Z-Wave. I didn't think it was getting enough coverage. It was kind of like the other bullet points that fell off to the side. But I wanted to talk to him about Z-Wave integration with Control 4 because that's kind of big. So let's take a listen. I'm here at the Control 4 booth with friend of the show, Brad Hinsey. Brad, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. So, super busy booth every single day I've been here.
Yeah.
You guys having a good show?
Oh, it's been such a great show. I love it because, you know, walking through the booth, it's always like shoulder to shoulder. It's like you're at a concert, just trying to get around everybody. But love the conversations, showing off all the products. It's been going really well.
Very good, very good. So big keynote features this year.
Yeah.
Amazon Alexa is probably on the forefront of everybody's mind.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I love it.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to push this through for months because I think it's such a great way for dealers, for you guys to introduce home automation to more customers. The thing is that when you can control something in a room, and you know, especially the new $49 dots, they're going to put them in every room, and that's awesome. But in order to do that, they need automation in every room also. So I think it's a really great opportunity. I've seen it where the non-adopter in the family, the naysayer in the family, where you show them, turn on the master bedroom, and they're like, that's awesome.
Right.
So that's what I'm really excited about there. Plus, I think it's just the launching pad for so many more things on top of that platform.
Yeah, definitely. They've sure come out of nowhere. It's not really out of nowhere. It's just they made a product I think that worked well, and it worked. I mean, that's key to it, and it's good to see them interested in the home automation market, because it gives us the ability to really get in there and show what we can do on top of what's essentially a consumer product.
Well, I think what is really interesting is the amount that they're investing in our channel.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good signal, and it's a good validation that this channel isn't going away. This channel provides a tremendous amount of value. We already knew that, right? We've known that for years.
Right.
But to have a big player like Amazon come and invest so much into this, I think it helps create a path where we can blend the consumer interest in DIY with the real value and expertise of the automation, of the integration channel.
Right. Another big, I think completely underreported announcement you guys made?
Yeah.
Z-Wave this year.
Yeah.
That's huge to me. I mean, that's an entirely different side of the market that has been wide open for so long.
Yeah.
Control4 has been Zigbee from day one.
Yes.
And now there's the ability to at least support a lot of, you look at the door locks, for example. You have Schlage and you have Kwikset. Kwikset went down the road of Z-Wave. I think Schlage is gone Zigbee.
Yeah.
And those are two competing brands. Now we can do them both. And I think that's great.
Yeah, I think so. This is our first step, so it's measured.
It's like 13 products, but you got to start somewhere.
We do, absolutely. So it fits really well with our long-term strategy. And we've proven this out. Support all the protocols you can. Have the open platform. This is part of the other part of that announcement is we support nearly 10,000 devices on our platform.
Right.
So you have all that integration capability. I think Z-Wave is going to, provide additional choice for dealers, and it is. I think it will be great. I think there are some fun products. There's some goofy products. The goofiest one, I don't know if you heard about the mousetrap that There's a Z-Wave mousetrap that will humanely electrocute the mouse.
Humanely,
and then send you a text message when you need to clean it out.
Well, so they say if you build a better mousetrap, and I think somebody took a little too literally with that one.
They did, exactly. But I think that's a good signal that there is a lot of choice and some innovation that's happening in that market.
Right.
And so I'm glad that we can now kind of start to play in that area.
Start going that way. Yeah, definitely. Well, Brad, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got a lot of stuff to do today, so I really appreciate you coming on the show and dropping a few lines for us.
Thanks for stopping by.
All right, excellent. Thanks. Brad Hinsey with Control4. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Interesting stuff, though. Yeah, definitely Z-Wave, obviously a big story, and looks like those guys have a lot going on with Alexa, which, of course, we anticipated coming into the show. We were going to see a ton of that, so no huge surprises there on the voice control front. But yeah, I thought Z-Wave was a huge story.
Yeah, it didn't get much press, and I don't know why, but I mean, the headline of the show was definitely the Amazon Alexa / Echo integration, especially like he said at that $49 price point. It's going to be a no-brainer to do from now on.
Right.
So next up, we've got Savant. I don't know too much about what they're doing, but I suppose you do. Why don't you tee this one up?
Yeah. So this one was one that I did, and I stopped by and spoke with Tim McInerney, who, like Brad Hinsey, has been on the show before. Had a good chat with him. Savant, really, to me, this was kind of a year of like we talked about on our show last week, incremental improvements for Savant. They did have a new product, the Pro Audio 4, which we talked about, and some other things going on. So let's just jump right into that clip with Tim McInerney from Savant. I'm joined here by Tim from Savant. Tim, how's it going?
Good.
All right. Good. I think it's been about a year since you and I spoke.
Probably about right.
Yeah, so you guys have been busy. Obviously, the booth is very busy again this year.
Sure.
Tell us what's new. Let's start with the Pro Audio 4.
Sure. So yeah, we just introduced the other day a new system we call Pro Audio 4, like you said. It really comes from demand that our integrators, told us. We listen very closely to what's going on in the marketplace, what people are telling us. We get a lot of feedback from our dealers, and they were saying that Home building is coming back gangbusters.
Yep.
And has been for, they were catching hints of it for a while. Condos, MDU developments. And so we said, hey, let's make one box that takes care of everything, both retrofit and new, that's the perfect size for most jobs, right? 4 zones amplified, up to 6 zones in one box. Includes Savant Music Stream, so you get all your favorite streaming services. Has AirPlay, so you can, if you've got an audiobook on your phone that's in some app that you can't get out any other way, you can AirPlay it right to, the whole house, basically. Right. And it's expandable. You can actually stack 3 of them together. They communicate over AVB. It's a relatively new networking standard for audio and video that synchronizes everything, takes all the problems away from, you might be half a second off in the milliseconds on one or the other. And you can link up to 3 of them together. They don't need to be co-located. They could just be, you can have one Cat 5 running to the guest house or the in-law apartment. You don't have to wire everything back to some central location. You can have kind of distributed points.
And talk about the small form factor here. You guys are actually showing it mounted inside of a low voltage panel.
And that again came from a lot of our integrators who say, I put it in a rack a lot of times, but home building is actually, it's coming back in a big way.
Yeah.
And there's a huge demand for home builders who have to have some sort of smart home technology. It's becoming table stakes to have some whole home audio, at least some control, maybe lighting, maybe it's climate. And so we made it so that it can be physically installed in a structured media panel, needs no cooling, needs no active airflow. Like we made it so that it can withstand outside wall temperatures in Arizona type of thing, but need no cooling. It's got a Class D amplifier in there, so it doesn't generate a lot of heat. And it really lets you build it into the home, which is another requirement for integrators working with a builder who want to fold it into the mortgage. It has to literally be attached to the house, and you can now do that.
Awesome. Well, let's touch on just quickly on the remote. Obviously, that was a big story last year at CEDIA, and you're shipping now, and I know you've got some improvements you've done on that. Tell us about that.
We just started shipping the Savant Pro remote. I believe it was back in May, and the Savant remote, the more consumer version of it, a few months ago. We've added some new enhancements to it. This all comes from feedback from our integrators who say, it's great as a single room solution. I'm in front of the TV, I'm using the remote, but clients say, I'm in an open floor plan and I want to adjust the music in the kitchen. I don't have to pull up my phone. I'm not trying to, set up a scene or do a whole, Sonos playlist, but I need to mute it or I want to adjust the volume, so you can now do that from the remote. We designed the remote in such a way that those updates are super easy to deploy. The consumer version of it just will get it overnight. When we release it overnight, it pops on there. For integrators, we don't ever want to have them shocked that something went into a large pro installation. They still have to go out there or remotely load it on. But it's all done over Wi-Fi. You don't have to plug anything into it.
Okay, great. Well, one last question. I know you've got integrations. So the Sonos one has been out for a little while now. I think kind of some improvements there, as well as a Nest integration. So tell us about kind of working with these integration partners and where you see the value there.
Absolutely. I mean, we try and take a different approach than I think a lot of people who try and support everything all the time. They want to play with everyone. We do that. Like for lighting, we support Lutron and Vantage and Hue and the Pro line and all this other stuff. But what we're hearing from integrators is, I want something that's rock solid, that the customer knows, that all works really well together. And Nest has been a frequent ask for them, even though it's not a custom install, specific product. But consumers are literally asking for it by name. They're not asking for climate control; they want Nest. And so what we decided to do was make sure that when we integrate with it, it's not just a single, hey, you can adjust the temperature. We want to actually add value, and we add a partner. So we want to partner with the best companies out there and make their solution better and ours better at the same time. So an example of what you can do with Nest, you can pick up the Savant remote, use the voice command in it, and say, I'm hot, and it will turn the temperature down 1 degree in that room. At the same time, we have bi-directional integration, so you could go walk up to the Nest thermostat, put it in away mode, and that you can link it to run your away scene,
trigger a scene
in your Savant system, and it could turn off your lights or do everything else. At the same time, we have features that Nest doesn't have. Like we have in the Savant app, a hold until feature. You can just say, hey, you know what? I know I'm going to be gone for the next 6 hours, but I know my wife's going to be coming home before me, and I don't want to leave the air conditioning on all day, but I don't want her walking into a hot house.
Right.
I can just say, it's off schedule, it's odd. I know that normally, the learning mechanism of Nest doesn't know that my wife's going to come home early today, but I do.
Yeah.
And she's not going to remember to pull out her app before she gets home or do whatever. I can just set it to say, hey, hold for 5 hours, and then 5 hours the AC will kick back in.
Got it.
So we add value on both sides.
Great.
Same thing with iPort. We just announced an integration with iPort. There are docks which have the buttons on
The hard
it.
buttons.
Yeah, which are really nice. And we were a Sonos partner. Last year we added them as an elite partner. They just announced their endorsed partner program that, of course, we're a part of. And through that, we've been adding functionality to, I was talking earlier about the volume control, the multi-zone control for Sonos on the remote. In addition, we just added a feature so that you can edit Savant scenes using Sonos. So before you could capture a scene with Sonos and it would play, but if you wanted to go edit it and change the playlist later, you'd have to recapture that scene.
Right.
Now we added it into the interface, you can just go grab it.
Gotcha.
Change the playlist in there, and same thing with the voice control. You can pick up the remote and just say play music, and it will actually just, in that room, whatever was last playing on Sonos, will just kick in again.
Very cool. All right. Well, yeah, the booth looks really busy. I'll let you get back to it. Really hope you enjoy the rest of your show, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with me.
Yeah, thanks for coming
All right.
by.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Tim.
it.
Very cool. I like that Pro Audio 4. I wish I had stopped by the booth and taken a look at it.
Yeah, it's a nice solution, and it definitely will fit the bill. I think, like he alluded to, really probably focused primarily on the production builder, MDU type market, but certainly in smaller single-family home residential as well. It's got a nice feature set built into it, so I think they did a good job with that one.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I am a big fan of like repeatable solutions, and if it's something that I can basically design and sell once and just keep repeating that system, big or small, doesn't matter. I'm just a big fan of that, so I'm a sucker for that kind of technology. I wish I had taken a look. Yep.
Must be nice.
Well, it can be done. It totally can be done.
It can. It's tough. Yeah. It's tough in the high-end custom home business, but we're always looking for things like that. I totally agree. I think that some of the integrations Savant was showing are becoming par for the course. Tim used the term table stakes when he was describing builders, and I think the same can kind of go for big control companies. It's sort of becoming table stakes now to have these things like Nest integration, Sonos integration, Alexa, these sort of things. So I thought Savant had some cool stuff this year, but I want to move on here to one that Seth, I think you and I both agree was a little bit unexpected in the sense of it was more than we thought, and it's Josh AI. We went and checked them out and thought they had a pretty strong showing. I really spoke with Alex quite a bit and let him know that I think the messaging around Josh AI has really been all about the voice, but to me, it did seem like quite a bit more than that.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked as to how much they have done. And like you said, it was been marketed around being a voice control system, but it's so much more than that. So let's take a listen.
I'm here at the Josh AI booth with Alex. Alex, how's it going? The booth's been busy.
It's been nonstop. This is the third day, Saturday. I thought this was a slow day, but we don't seem to be slowing down.
Yeah. No, every time I've walked by here, it's been a very, very crowded booth, and obviously I think that bodes well for you guys. You and I were just talking, and I think the big kind of takeaway from me coming out of this booth is that you guys are way more than just a voice control platform. So talk about that.
Yeah, so Josh is a full home control system. We live on a Mac Mini. We integrate and control a lot of devices natively, so all the Lutron stuff, tons of music, Sonos, Meridian, Autonomic, all that stuff. But we have a deep learning model baked into everything. So we have voice as a central input mechanism, but we can then run scenes, triggers, we do all sorts of stuff. So think of us more like a voice solution coupled with Savant or Crestron.
Yeah, and you guys have a very effective demo here. I was telling you, I think the interface is beautiful. You guys have done a great job with that. And so it looks like a very compelling product. I know that there's been a lot of conversation in the industry about the pricing model. And some people are wondering if that's going to be a successful, strategy for you guys being at a pretty high price point. But you've got some interesting feedback on that, so share that with us.
Yeah, so when we started the company, we wanted to think about the right way to do this. We modeled this a little bit after what Tesla did. So Elon talks about the master plan, high cost, low volume to start, and over time, price comes down, volume goes up. Our initial price point is aimed to be a little bit more high-end, a little bit more exclusive. That being said, we're hearing from probably 50% of the integrators that we're priced too low.
That it's too low.
And that's been shocking, but,
Well, that's why we come to these shows, right? You guys seem like you're really taking feedback here well, and I think that's important. And like I said, I think you guys have done a great job with the platform, and really, it's way more than voice. So I just think that's an important message for you guys to get out there. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with me. Tell me, kind of your big takeaway from the show. What are you going to go away and really get to work on?
Well, this is our big launch. This is where we announced our Crush Run integration, our Alexa integration, our Sonos integration. This is us going live.
Yep.
And so for us, we're now starting to ship. We're partnering with integrators. This is where stuff gets real.
Yeah.
So I'm really focused on the next month, the next quarter.
Sure.
But beyond that, it's all about taking the system just even further, really making it a true AI environment.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking a minute to chat with me, and good luck with the rest of the show.
Thanks so much.
You know what impresses me about them so much? At least the impression that I got.
What's that?
They have a plan, and they seem to be sticking to it. Like it doesn't
novel idea.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be one of these startups that's like, oh, we'll run over here where this money is, and then
which way's the wind blowing?
Yep, exactly. They seem to be sticking to their guns, and I totally agree. Like the Tesla model is good, and we were talking about like that Crestron integration he kind of like mentioned right there. They're selling a complete home automation system, but the dealers that are buying it aren't, they're like us. They're not like totally convinced, right? Because it's Crestron's proven, Control 4 is proven, but you don't go into like the types of house that they're selling into and put a new product in that's kind of like being released.
Good point.
So that's what the Crestron integration was. They're doing that so they can sit on top of Crestron, and Crestron's kind of the fail-safe to make those dealers feel more comfortable about using Just AI. I think it's smart. I think they're doing some smart things here.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think that the type of home that's going to buy this sort of system is not where you want to make your homeowner the guinea pig. So I think that's a smart move on their part, and I look forward to seeing what these guys can do. But let's move on here. We've got going to shift gears slightly. We're still talking luxury and high-end type products, but we've got a couple of TV makers here for the next two. We stopped by and had a chat with LG and Sony. In my opinion, making the best TVs out there between these two companies. And the first one I stopped by to chat with was LG, and they had the big 77-inch OLED that they were showing. It's $20,000 TV, biggest OLED they've made so far. These are gorgeous TVs. I don't think we've talked about it before, and I think it's pretty unanimous. People tend to agree that OLED makes a beautiful TV. It's a unique technology, and so I've always kind of wondered why, if it's such a known thing that OLED TVs look the way they do, why is LG really the only company doing it? And so that was kind of one of the things that I talked to LG about when I stopped by. So let's jump into the clip.
I've got Matt from LG here with me. Matt, how's the show going?
It's going great. Great.
Well, the booth looks beautiful. These OLED TVs are amazing.
Yeah.
And, it's always a must-see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're having a good time showing off all our new OLEDs. Obviously, OLED is a very big focus of ours at LG, and you can see here we have 4 series of OLEDs this year. What we call the B6, the C6, the E6, and the G6. One important distinction of the 4 series is that they actually all have the same panel, right?
Yep.
So it's the same picture quality throughout all 4 models. We now have, in just a short period of time, we've only been making OLED for 3 years. We now have 4 series with 3 different screen sizes.
Awesome.
A little bit about OLED in general, some of the differences that OLED brings over your traditional LED TVs. First of all, one distinction that we want to make is that OLED is not a backlit technology.
Right.
Where all of your traditional LEDs do have a backlight, right? Yep. So basically in an LED you have a layer of pixels, and then those pixels are lit by an LED in some way, shape, or form. OLED, the technology is really different. How it creates the picture is very, very different. You have a layer of pixels, and instead of a backlight, there is an organic carbon-based compound that sits on the back of those pixels and fires each one individually.
And so the result is more precise blacks.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Better
What we call self-illuminating pixels.
Got it.
Right. So then maybe that's a little too much, technology
No,
background
it's great.
for you.
Yeah, it's important to understand.
But what's the important part that comes out of that again is the self-illuminating pixels.
Yep.
Right. So what you get basically is if we want a pixel to be red, it's red, but we can make the pixel directly next to that black by completely turning it off.
Right.
And that gives incredible precision, and it gives the only TV that in the history of the world that's ever been able to create what we call perfect black.
Yep.
Which is 0.00000 on the brightness scale, or the absence of light. Because again, we can completely pull the electrical current from that pixel.
Love it.
We want it to be black.
Love it. So one more question for you. I know OLED is a great technology, it makes a beautiful TV, and so some people might wonder why aren't more people doing it. LG really seems to be the only company out there that's pushing this technology forward. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So OLED is not something that we invented. OLED has been around for quite some time. The technology is something that all of the major manufacturers have tried to put out.
Yep.
And we won that race, so to speak, right? And there's a number of different, at this point, patents and barrier to entry as to why we're the only ones manufacturing and selling it. And so basically what you have is a situation where the OLED is clearly the best. Our OLEDs continue to win basically every award throughout the industry. And we're the only ones doing it, right?
Yeah.
So we can continue to push, what we call the best picture in the world, best TV in the world.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Love it. Well, the booth looks great, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your show. Keep up the good work.
Great.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And I can totally attest that those displays just looked amazing in their booth. I mean, just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, they're beautiful TVs, and I don't think, like I said, I don't think there's much debate about the virtue of OLED as a TV. It's still a little bit higher on the price scale, but they're definitely working on getting those down. This next one, let's jump into, was a conversation I had with a gentleman over at Sony, and they were showing their new Z Series TVs, which were also gorgeous displays. And the big thing with them is that they've got this backlight master drive, and without getting too deep into it, because we're going to get into it in the clip, the whole idea is that they're really trying to get very precise with managing their backlight and try to mimic those black levels of an OLED TV. And I don't know about you, Seth, but I saw that Z Series, and to me, it was a really gorgeous TV.
Yeah, Sony is doing everything they can to match the technology. I mean, Sony has premium video products, period. Like, they really, really work on the processors and chips inside, where they can make their displays outperform anybody else. And they were showing it because, like you said, those Z series, there was the 100, there was another 75, a 65, and a 50 or something. The 100, I think, was around $60,000, which, I mean, I've paid, not my money, but I've paid 130 for a 103 inch.
You're doing pretty well over there, Seth.
Yeah, well, it's probably still in that house.
Yeah.
But this would be a good, 1-to-1 replacement for that. Because it was one of the old Panasonics. It's probably only, I know it's only 1080p. I mean, this would go in as a 100 inch at 4K and have a great picture on it. So that would be good for those, upgrading those old 103 Panasonics that are still out there. Because there's quite a few of those on the market.
Right. But before we jump in, I want to make a comment. The $60,000 price point might scare some people off of even looking at the Z series. So I just want to point out, because I do think it's interesting, is that, it's an exponential increase from the 75 inch. So the 75 inch is 9,000. And, I've just always kind of wondered about that. I've never quite understood. I'm sure it's just lower volume and different manufacturing process or whatever, but
we'll compare it to the 77 inch LG. That was 20,000. So it's 2 more inches.
So you got a 75 that's, yep, exactly. And so 75 is 9,000 is going to be the retail on that, and then 65 inch is going to go for 6,000. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this clip with Sony.
I'm here at the Sony booth with David. We're looking at the Z series TVs here, and these things look awesome. How's the show been going?
This is probably the busiest corner I've been in. I'm probably the most photographed person at CEDIA.
Yeah.
Because I've been standing next to the most popular TV, I think.
Yeah, well, it's a gorgeous TV. So talk about the Z series and what makes them special.
So the Z series is a new concept from Sony. It's sort of the step, maybe the godson, if you will, of our BBM X300 OLED.
Okay.
Which we use professionally, right? So that's the TV that's used to grade commercial movies and film. So what's unique about this TV is two things. One is the backlight master drive. So in order to control black levels on LED TVs, you go from edge lit to direct LED to full array local dimming.
Right.
So what we've done is we've installed an unprecedented number of LEDs on the back of this television, and each one is independently controlled. So what that gives us is two things. One, OLED-like black levels, so we can be pinpoint precise, and two, because it's an LED, we're able to provide an unprecedented amount of color and brightness to a TV.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
they look great. Is that so? Do you have a few different sizes? You have the 100-inch. I think we're looking here at
there's
75,
a 75 and a 65.
And
right.
they all have that same full
they all
array.
Have that same, they all have that same
backlight.
capability. In addition, we've upgraded our X1 processor to something called the X1 Extreme. So we're doing 14-bit color mapping. We've added a noise reduction database, so instead of sharpening everything on an image, including the noise, we can reduce that. And then we're also doing something called HDR remastering. So we can actually focus on up to 16 different areas of the screen based on color and brightness. So we can do a color and contrast just for that area. So on a bright scene, we don't crush the blacks. On a dark scene, we don't lose the brights.
Right.
So it gives us a much more realistic picture, which you have seen.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. You guys have a very effective demo over there showing, side by side a TV with the new master backlight drive and then one without. And it's a very effective demo. Are these TVs shipping right now?
The 65 and 75 are currently available. The MSRP on the 65 is $6,000. The 75 is $9,000. The 100-inch, which has an MSRP of 60, will be available starting in November, but I'm sad to say that the first allotment has been sold out.
Sold out. Well,
so
that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Great.
So if you want one, you're going to have to wait until February.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a few years for me, but no, it's a great-looking TV. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with me.
My
and
pleasure.
I wish you best of luck with what's left of the show here.
All right, thanks so much.
All right, take care.
All right.
So there you have it. Like you said, Seth, Sony, very much a company that really takes quality seriously. I got a consistent message from our Sony rep as we were moving through the booth that, Sony's very dedicated to the integrator. That was definitely consistent messaging, and I think their products speak to it. Very high quality stuff. They've got their $60,000 4K laser projector as well that they were showing. I didn't get a chance to actually see that one in action, but overall, really impressed with the technology that they were showing, and I think they're doing a great job.
Yeah, I know we talked a little bit about the Blu-ray player that was showing the 6 Blu-ray 8
with 6 titles.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit of that last week.
All 6 of them.
Well, right, they were on the wall. The other big thing I saw in the Sony booth, and we'll probably cover this later in this show, was that iHeiji was being built into the TVs. And I like going back to the integrator thing, I thought that was a great thing. You'll be able to monitor the network status and the status of the TVs and some of the receivers that they have.
What was it being built into the I knew it was being built into the receivers. I knew that, but I actually didn't catch that they're integrating it right into the TVs as well.
I thought they said receivers and TVs, but we'll probably have to check on it. But yeah.
Yeah, we'll fact check that, but I do know for sure that they are integrating it with the receivers, and I think that speaks to what I was just mentioning, where Sony is a company that does seem dedicated to the integrator channel, and I like to see that.
Yep. Well, before we move over onto the RSM stuff, was there anything else that you saw in luxury? I know you got a couple notes here about like the home theater, the super high home theaters that are out there.
Yeah. I think just generally, like I said earlier, it to me is CEDIA is still very much a show about luxury and going in there and finding those products that are really going to differentiate us as a professional home technology company and solution provider versus what somebody can go out and do themselves at Best Buy now. I think that stuff's great. We talk about it all the time. But at the end of the day, there are some pretty neat things that we as integrators can do that you just can't do on your own. And I love seeing that stuff out at CEDIA. So a couple of the things that I just made special note of, sat in on a Steinway demo, And if you're not familiar with Steinway, very high-end speaker manufacturer. And we sat in on a little, they had one of the high-performance audio rooms set up, and we went over there and checked out a Dolby Atmos setup they had. It was about a $200,000 setup. I believe that included all the processors and everything like that. And sounded great. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if you had a chance to sit in on any Atmos demos or any 3D audio. Did you get a chance to do that?
I unfortunately didn't. I spent most of my time talking on the show floor.
Yeah. It's hard, it's amazing the kind of things that you think you're going into the show and you think you're going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And it just, before you know it, you blink and it's Saturday and you're heading to the airport. So I know the feeling. But yeah, in addition to that, checked out digital projection, DPI. They've got a new $20,000 4K laser projector we talked a little bit about last week. And that's a great price point for a 4K laser projection. And so I'm excited about that. Saw some of their higher end models as well that looked great. And then one other thing I definitely want to touch on that we talked about last week as well is the JBL in-wall compression drivers. And that's a pretty big deal to me. Compression drivers, very high quality speaker. There's a lot of virtue to those in a theater environment in particular. The challenge has always been that they require a lot of depth. And so JBL is the only company now doing an in-wall compression driver. So you get all the performance of an in-wall or of a compression driver, but you get that form factor of an in-wall. And we were talking to some of the gentlemen over there at JBL, and I made a note. It was interesting. He mentioned that part of the reason other companies have struggled to do this is that there are areas, parts of the manufacturing process when they're doing these where they have tolerances that are less than a tenth of the width of a human hair when they're building these. So it's got to be a super precise manufacturing process. And it's something that JBL has, I think they mentioned 3 or 4 different patents on now that they've been able to do it. And so pretty exciting technology.
Yep, definitely. One of the high-end things I wish I got to see, but it was a little bit, by the time I found out about it, it was a little bit later, and I didn't have enough time to swing by and check it out, was the Myers Sound home theater setup that they have. And evidently it wasn't at the show. It was about a 10-minute bus ride, I guess. They had a shuttle running in between it and the show. And this was like a super, super high end, like built from the ground up home theater. I think friend of yours, Gideon over at Paradise Theater, is that right?
Fantastic Theaters.
Fantastic Theaters was telling us a little bit about it. And
he was super hyped up on it. He definitely thought it was the real deal. And I definitely trust his opinion. He's a guy that we've mentioned on the show once or twice in the context of some of the very high-end theater work I used to do out in Los Angeles. And that's where he lives and works. And he's a fully licensed general contractor, but all he does is builds really high-end theaters. So Jerry Bruckheimer's theater, which we've talked about once or twice on the show, that would be one example of a theater that he built out. So he's a guy who definitely knows his way around a theater. And if he speaks highly of a technology, then to me, that's something worth taking a look at.
Myers really famous in the arena, like commercial sound, pro audio sound space. And it's nice to see them moving that technology into home theater. Evidently, it's going to be super exclusive. Like you have to have a fully designed, engineered room, have a qualified contractor to build that room, and then all sorts of stuff on the backside to make sure that the project gets finished completely.
That somebody doesn't come in and screw it up.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're going to pay big bucks for it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, and it makes sense. It makes sense. A company like that, you're spending that much money, they're going to want to make sure that it's getting installed and optimized correctly. Otherwise, it's just a bad deal for the brand. Let's
move into RSM. Now, this is a term that you've dubbed yourself. Go ahead and fill us in on what you mean by that.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll catch on, or maybe as an industry we'll come up with something better. I just felt like
I like it
personally. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Seth. I felt like it was hard to refer to this growing category that we see now with companies like IHG, Krika, Domots, Digital Butler. These guys are all providing, in a sense, a very similar solution. And I just didn't feel like there was a great term to describe it. So RSM is remote systems management. If you hear us say that on the show here, that's what we're referring to. And it definitely, to me, was one of the very prominent currents of the show that we saw. It really, I wrote a piece for Residential Systems last week, and I felt like coming out of the show, it was one of these CEDIAs where we didn't really it wasn't like the whole show was talking about one big blockbuster product that came out. Obviously, you had voice control, which was a pretty big deal. But I didn't feel like beyond that there was a whole lot that people were generally in a consensus about being the big story. And to me, I felt like the arrival of RSM as a category, as something that we have to define and give kind of a broad definition to and start thinking about in the context of the same way we talk about, well, what are you using for network gear? What are you using for speakers? I think 2-3 years from now, that's going to be the same conversation. Well, what are you using for RSM? And I think that we'll mark 2016 as the year that this technology really came of age.
Yep, I completely agree. You're pretty good at spotting these trends a year or two before they really start taking off. And I suspect CEDIA 2017, 2018 is going to be all about the RSM space.
Yeah, I just think like right now the conversation is, do you use IHG or do you use Domots? And I think in the future, again, it's going to be more like, well, what are you doing for RSM? And I think it has a very important role to play in the future of our industry, in my opinion, especially with the whole convergence of DIY technology and the lowering price points, and how are we going to deal with that and still add, value? And I think remote systems management, providing a high level of service. Another company that sort of fits into this model that we didn't get a soundbite from, but I thought had a really strong presence at the show, was OneVision. I got to listen to a presentation by Joey, the founder, at the HTSA member meeting, as well as went and attended the Blueprint for Success panel that he sat on, and thought that he gave a really strong presentation. He's got a pretty unique business model. I think educating the market is the big thing for them right now, and I thought he did a great job conveying the value of service. He's really a champion for that aspect of our industry, and I think he's a great guy. If you're listening to the show and you're not familiar with Joey Kolchinsky and OneVision, definitely someone to check out.
I heard many times during the show about a couple of his presentations that he gave. Evidently, it made an impression on a number of people because they kept talking about it after he gave it. So too sad that I missed out on it, but I'm glad you got to take a seat. And Joey's been on the show a couple of times, and friend of the show, and we'll definitely look forward to having him on in the future.
One to watch. Yeah,
definitely.
Yep. Let's jump in here. So the first one that we're going to jump into is, I would say, the pioneer in this space. Really, the first ones. We had Mike Maniscalco on recently, and it's IHG. They've been doing this since 2009, which I remember when we recorded the episode, I kind of did a double take a little bit. It was hard to believe. So definitely first player in this space to really kind of pioneer this category. And I was able to stop by and chat with them at the booth. Got some very interesting things going on this year. I won't go into them because you'll hear about them in the sound clip. So let's jump right in to my chat with Mike.
I've got our good friend Mike from IHG here. Mike, how's it going?
Hey, Jason, good to see you.
Good, yeah. You having a good show?
It's been a busy show.
Awesome. Yeah, the booth has been busy, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Tell us a little bit about what you're showing here. I know one of the big things you guys are doing is this RMR race. Tell us about that.
The race for retirement, margaritas, and revenues.
I love it.
It's what we nicknamed it. The margaritas piece being that for this contest specifically, our goal is to generate about $1 million in recurring revenues for the industry. I think as we kind of talked about the last time we spoke. And as an incentive for dealers to get into this contest, we are giving away 2 trips to Mexico all-inclusive resort for the dealers who generate the highest number of service contracts and highest number of revenues through the system.
Love it.
Between CEDIA this year and CEDIA next year.
Awesome.
So margaritas for that.
I love the idea.
Yeah.
I love the idea. So what else do you have going on this year? What's new?
Yeah, we've got quite a bit. So the RMR theme goes from the race for revenues, margaritas, and retirement all the way through recurring revenues. Really enabled by Service Manager, some of the improvements we've done. So the improvements that we're really, really excited about are we've added a number of things over the last year, but QuickBooks integration has been big because it's end-to-end now recurring revenue recognition, which dealers really want to see. They want to see that efficiency. But also this client-facing portal, which we call it. So basically what it allows the dealer to do is set up a branded portal with their logo on it, put all their service plans on it. They can send an email to all their clients. Their clients see their different service plans they can sign up for. They click the link, go to this portal, click Buy Now, put in their credit card information, and the revenues should start coming in.
Love it.
All the dealer has to do is deliver on that service.
Yep.
So, and that's where Envision kind of fits in all this.
Very cool. Yeah. And so speaking of Envision, I think you guys have a bunch of new, I think 250 was the number I heard, 250 new integrations.
Yeah, we are always busy adding new manufacturer
sure.
integrations. We have a number of very close partners, so we've announced some new partnerships with Luxol. We've been working with them for over 5 years now to add some new product support there. We've added some really cool stuff with Sony where they've embedded some of our intelligence into their system to make monitoring easier. But it made a strong push going into CEDIA to get up to that 250 number.
Yep.
And we'll continue to do that because we think one of the biggest value adds is that we integrate with all of these different manufacturers and devices, whether they use, the dealer uses Snap AV, Package, APC, AAA, Surgex for power management, whether they use Arachnus or Cisco or whatever it is, we integrate with all those products.
A little more vendor agnostic.
Yeah. So we are vendor agnostic. We are their one-stop platform for remote monitoring and support.
Right.
And that's important to do.
Very good. So one last question, I'll let you go. I know you guys have an app now, an Envision app. I think that's kind of a big deal. You guys, you and I have talked about that, but tell our listeners about it.
I love it. It puts the control of Envision in the pocket of the technician. The technicians are on the go.
Yep.
They're always running around from one job to another. When they're eating lunch, they're stuffing their face as quickly as possible.
That's it.
If they get an alert, they can pull up the phone, they can do the reboot from the phone, and they're done. And because they don't have to think about what manufacturer or product, they don't have to think about what app to enter into, it just makes it easy. It makes their lives easier.
Very good.
And that's the app's free, and the power management functionality is also free.
Awesome.
So that just makes it something that every integrator can adopt really quickly and help their business.
Great. Love it. Well, enjoy the rest of your show and keep up the good work.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
Margaritas.
So there you have it. Yeah, margaritas. The race for revenue, margaritas, and retirement. I like that. So they're definitely trying to get the industry excited about RMR and get behind it. And I think that's always been something I've admired about IHG as a company is they really advocate for RMR. They provide a lot of resources for their dealers to get started with that. And I think that's a trend that we're seeing continue with them.
Yeah, anything that we can do to advance the business, because there's a lot that's going to be changing in this business in the upcoming years. And I think, IHG has definitely been the leader in this space. So more to watch and more to come from them. Next one you got queued up here is Digital Butler. I've never really heard of these guys.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit younger. I think they're just as a company, anyways. A couple of guys I spoke with, I asked them about their background. They said we're Silicon Valley guys, so I don't know all the details about what their background is, but they're they see themselves as a serious player in this space. Their parent company of Digital Butler is the product, and their parent company is called Holistic Labs. And holistic is an idea that they really are emphasizing. They want to be seen as more of an end-to-end solution in their opinion. So they're offering some different things to kind of help with that, including eventually a call center model. They mentioned that they don't have deployed just yet, but they are similar to the OneVision thing. They're going to take a stab at kind of being the frontline tier 1 support. And so it'll remain to be seen how that plays out. But without me getting too much more into the details here, let's jump into the clip and then we'll wrap it up with a couple of comments.
I'm joined by Bala here at the Digital Butler booth. Bala, how's it going?
Doing great, Jason. It's awesome. It's been a great show for us so far.
Yeah, it's been a busy booth. I've been by here a number of times, and it seems like you guys are getting some attention. This is a big theme of this year's show is companies like yours and what you guys are doing. So I know you've got a couple of unique things about your approach. Talk to me about it from a high level. I know you're kind of taking a more holistic approach is the term you guys are using. So talk about that.
Absolutely. Pros have a problem in terms of cost because of truck rolls. So that's been their motivation to be interested in remote monitoring services. Where the Digital Butler differs is we've taken a holistic approach to solving the problem for the pro, where they can sell a service, which is an upsell, where they can basically get recurring revenue from it and scale that business. And the Digital Butler is the only platform which does that.
Yeah.
So the highlights of it is we support the end-to-end business process, like ticketing, remote support, client management, as well as analytics and doc management. So it's one tool which can be used to basically support the whole business process. They can reach 100% of their clients, their future clients, their present clients, and their past clients.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I know you guys are taking a different approach in terms of not necessarily tying an integrator to a piece of hardware that you sell or that they buy. It can install on mobile devices, I think computers, you said?
Exactly.
Is that correct? Talk about that.
So we support basically the consumer. On the consumer side, the application can be downloaded on user devices, and we support all the major platforms. A Mac PC, a Windows PC, an Android tablet or a phone, or an iPad or an iPhone. So basically you can get the 100% reach right away. Optionally, you can also embed our software in a Raspberry Pi where you have a permanent presence in the home. So you have every way to get the get to the customer and have these agents monitoring the home.
Yep.
So that's kind of our unique value, as well as the scope portal, which is basically enables them to manage this whole business process.
Right. So tell me, what is your kind of key takeaway from the show? I mean, you guys have had a lot of people by here. Are you getting generally good feedback? Anything actionable you guys are going to go get to work on?
Yeah, absolutely. The show has been great for us because we see that there is a strong interest from this, from the CEDIA channel. The pros are engaged in it in terms of really they see the need for this. But what we also see is that when they come by, they see that we are able to basically deliver a platform where they can really sell this service and scale their business. We also have this optionally an all-inclusive service option, where through a partner, their tier 1 support calls are handled. Therefore, they only get escalated calls, so they can really scale the business. So we've really thought about the scaling deeply, and we are the only ones positioned to do that.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking a minute to chat with me, and I wish you the best of luck here with what's left of the show.
Absolutely.
All right,
thanks so much.
Yeah, so different approach, a lot of unique things about how they're trying to do it, but definitely some challenges ahead. I think the call center thing is going to be very difficult. I know that OneVision has very deep experience in the home technology market, and I think that's one of the big things that they bring to bear. And we should mention that they are or they were exhibiting in the same booth with IHEG. So, between the partnership between OneVision and IHEG's pretty close. It's not a formal partnership, like you're not married to using IHEG if you want to use OneVision or vice versa. But between those two, there's a very close partnership that does sort of provide that end-to-end solution that Digital Butler was talking about. But I think in this space right now, the more the merrier. Let things kind of shake out. Let some people do some innovative stuff, and let's see what works.
It kind of what I was thinking too. I mean, it sounded like a very similar offering to OneVision. I just don't know. I know that Joey's company has like a long background in dealing with AV clients. I'm not sure about Digital Butler. It looks like they're kind of broad and out against a bunch of different other type of markets like retail and insurance.
Yeah, and I don't know. I didn't get a chance to really dive in on that particular piece and ask him about it. But I just don't know if they're planning to just spin up a call center somewhere with some, people with a checklist and a script. Yeah. That's not going to work. It's going to have to be people that really understand the nuance of what we do. And so I think that is something that OneVision takes very seriously. And I don't know. Digital Butler may be planning to do the same thing. Like I said, I'm not sure. But I think that's going to be really the key determining factor to that particular piece. If that's going to work out for them or not.
Yep. If they could just filter out all the stupid sales calls that I have that come through, that would be great.
That would help.
I'd pay for that. Yeah.
Well, they may listen to you. Send them a note, and they might get that incorporated. But let's move on here. The next one we got is Domots, and Domots is really a new player on the scene. They've kind of made a big splash with mainly their price point. They've got a very, very low price point. $299 flat rate per site for an integrator to monitor. So that's $2.99. So that's very, very inexpensive, and that definitely has people talking. Gorgeous app. We've had Domots on the show. I'm really a fan of what they're doing. But I think that the low price point is going to be tough to keep that sustainable. But I think that if they're able to do that, they're definitely going to be a serious player. So let's jump into that clip right now.
I'm here with Domenico from Domots. Domenico, how's it going?
Hi, it's going really well.
Great. You guys have had a good show. The booth, every time I've come by here, has been very busy.
Yeah, we had a great turnout, actually. We ran out of brochures almost on day one. So that's always a good sign.
Good problem to have.
Yes.
Yeah. So how's it been going generally? I mean, I know you guys are a relatively new entry into the CEDIA space. This whole kind of area of what we're calling remote systems management is starting to get crowded.
Yeah.
You guys are doing some things differently. How have you been received here?
Yeah, no, really well. The crowded portion part was I was a little surprised at all the announcement. It's actually turned out good because I think it's validating the sector.
Yep.
On one hand, and we are still quite agnostic on manufacturer, which I think is playing a lot to our advantage.
Yep.
We haven't had any haters coming to the booth. There's been
Good.
a lot of love.
Yeah.
A lot of happy people. There's a lot of people that have been a lot of references coming, people coming from other people being referred from others. So it's really good. It's a good feeling.
And I know we had you on the show. Since then, you guys acquired Fing.
Yes.
So tell us about how you're kind of rolling that technology in and what that offering looks like.
The biggest deal on Fing, where we're doing a lot of strides, is the device identification. So we have 30 million users of Fing around the world. We have 600,000 scans every day. We're about to introduce a cloud login functionality where people can sync their information on the cloud, and the way that we're going to use that is actually to become smarter on device identification. So the next time you press your Fing, you're going to find more and more information about your devices.
Great.
Which is to the benefit of everybody.
Yeah.
So it's crowdsourcing device identification, which is good news for everybody.
And so one of the big things people have been talking about, like we said, the space is filling up. There's a lot of different offerings out there. You guys are definitely the most aggressively priced.
Yeah.
Tell us again about that decision and how you think that's kind of playing out.
I'm glad. Every time, actually, it was I got to the bottom before anybody else, so that was a good move. So let's get it over with. I think we're competing on the user experience.
Yeah.
And really on the amount of effort. I think we have more developers actually than anybody else on this. We got 30 people doing this.
Wow.
And we only do this.
Great.
So we're really committed to this. It's going great. We're growing.
Yeah. So one last question. I know you guys have a newly announced partnership with Luxel.
Yeah.
And I heard you say you're kind of talking to some other manufacturers on the show. How do you see that as being important as far as you getting in, really tightly partnerships with other manufacturers in the space?
That's huge. I mean, it's for us. We're going towards the direction of getting our software embedded in a whole bunch of manufacturers' gear. Makes the ease of adoption a lot easier. You have no cost to actually trying it out. There's no upfront fee. I think it's going to be really, from the distribution perspective, we make it really easy for the customer to try this out.
Right.
So it's a big deal. And Luxel is the first of many, hopefully.
Great. Well, we wish you the best of luck with what's left of the show here, and appreciate you taking a minute to chat with me.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Good seeing you.
So I tossed one of these boxes into one of my clients' homes, and because I was leaving town, I was kind of concerned that something may be going on. So tossed it in, and as I'm boarding the plane, the internet starts just going up and down, up and up and down. So I get off the plane, up and down, make my next plane. I get all the way to Dallas. The thing is still sending me notifications. So I say, get on the text message, and I say, Will, you need to call Comcast, get them out there to take a look at the modem. And since their business account, Comcast, came out like the next day, they found that there was something wrong with the modem. It was going up and down too much. They replaced the modem, took a bunch of lines off that were causing noise and that kind of thing. It's fixed now. No more notifications. It's great little.
That's great. Yeah. And you look like a hero, right? I mean, I think that's one of the things that some people miss when we talk about RSM, and they think about preventing truck rolls and generating recurring monthly revenue. But I think one of the things that maybe doesn't get talked about enough is this idea of being proactive, right? And how that just changes the whole conversation. If I'm the one calling my client and saying, hey, I think there's something wrong with your modem, you should give Comcast a call, versus waiting for Friday night when they go to watch a Netflix movie and it doesn't work and they're calling me, yelling and screaming about it. So I think that it changes the whole dynamic. And I think that's one of the big value adds of having one of these solutions in place, whichever one you go with. I think it's a clear win.
Yep, absolutely. Especially if you're out of town on that Friday night at a trade show in Dallas, Texas. It doesn't really help.
Yeah. It doesn't make it easy. Well, we got one more soundbite here in the RSM category, and that is another relative newcomer to the space, and that's Krika. And Krika is definitely doing some things that are very unique. They've got this WEOS social network kind of model, which they're sort of crowdsourcing data from their dealer base and saying, we're gathering a lot of information with our deployed devices, and maybe there's some value there. How can we take that data and bring it together and help everybody kind of get better visibility into maybe common issues or common incompatibilities and things like that. So without me rambling on anymore about it, let's jump into our sound clip here with Bruno from Krika.
I'm here at the Krika booth with Bruno. Bruno, how's the show been going?
The show has been going very busy, and we're very happy to be at this CEDIA today.
Great, yeah. So this is definitely one of the core themes that we came into the show looking at, is this area of remote systems management. I know you guys call it what? Supervision?
We call it remote supervision.
I like that.
And we're very happy today because there's a lot and more competition on the field.
Yep.
And today, remote supervision is a category on its own.
Yeah.
Okay? And it put a lot of pressure on the market, and professional home technologists will see that there is a real benefit because there is more and more company to do it.
Yeah, so validation.
Yes, it's a validation.
And so talk about, you and I were talking just a minute ago, and I think you had some interesting thoughts. I think that the home technology professional, the average attendee of this show, sees the value in these sort of systems, but as an industry, we're still struggling to sell it. Why do you think that is, and how do we get past that?
Okay, and the professionals struggle to sell supervision system because they don't sell maintenance. And this is the whole problem. They just buy supervision device, they plug it into the showroom, they just love it, and then they look at the device and say, what the hell I'm going to do with this now? And I all tell them, just sell it to your customer. And the answer they give us is, we don't sell maintenance, so we don't know how to sell supervision device. Whatever the brands, okay, but whatever our competitors, it's difficult to sell it. So we try to tell them, our new job as a supervision device manufacturer is to tell them how to sell it.
Right.
And there is a different approach that we try to give to professionals is, tell to your customer that their own smart house has more connected device than their own enterprise. Just count how many devices there is in the enterprise, just computer and printers, and they have professional grade
24/7
24/7 guy on site, professional grade routers, Wi-Fi access point and switches, and in the house, every toxic and wild device that the consumer industry will produce will be connected on the network, and this will kill the network.
Right.
So very soon it's going to be a real professional negligence if you as a professional you don't take all the measure to provide a good service to your customer.
Yeah.
Because your customer one day will come back to you and say, you knew it before.
Right.
Before you sell this to me, you knew that you will just install in my house a time bomb that will explode 10 times a year.
Yeah.
And you didn't tell me that it will happen, and you didn't tell me there is solutions for this.
Yeah.
Professionals, they are always complaining about connected object that gives us a lot of problem. But as connected devices, we can query it, we can track them. So let's use supervision to resolve all the problem. Stop working with the old-fashioned way, good time you were working before.
Right.
Supervision is the real solution.
Yeah, and so one more question I want to touch on. I know this is a big initiative for you guys. It's the WEOS.
Yes.
You've got the banner here calling it the IoT-based social network to connect the CE industry.
Yes.
Very unique concept. I love the idea. Tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, we took the opportunity that every connected device can be tracked, identified, and monitored. So if you are a Krika user and you're struggling with one of the devices you see on the dashboard, let's say you have a problem with this specific Wi-Fi access point, you can click on the Help Me button, and we will search into our database of all the Krika users, all the professionals that have the exact same devices and who accept to join the WEOS program.
Yep.
And you will be able to send them a SOS. You just describe your problem, and instantly in the world, whatever the jet lag, there is someone who has the same device that will answer you. We love to joke about it. We love to say it's some kind of a speed dating of professional who someone have a problem and maybe 100% in the world have the solution.
Right.
So we use connected devices to connect people together.
Yeah. And it's WEOS, it's the worldwide help each other social experience. I like it. So kind of enhancing this idea of community and known issues that are out there, and how can we all help each other run a better, more efficient business. So.
It's much more efficient than a forum. Because when you write something in a forum, it's kind of launching a bottle on the sea, and maybe 5,000 people will read it, and they don't have your device.
Right.
So here we can make the link between 100 people that have the exact same device and who sign up to the Wheels program to say, yes, I want to help other people.
Right. Awesome. I love it. Well, I wish you the best of luck with what's left of the show here, and I'm glad we got a chance to connect. Thanks so much, Bruno.
Thank you very much.
You got it.
Goodbye.
So there you have it. Selling time bombs.
Yeah. Well, I really like that the social tech support network thing. That's really cool. That's really a good idea. I think about like
it's a cool concept.
Yeah, the brain trust that exists within, a couple of techs within the business and maybe the owner, like extending that out to every dealer out there. I mean, that would be awesome. Just a great wealth of information. I hate going like onto a forum and typing something in or searching for like something that I'm having an issue with, and like, oh, here's somebody had a problem back in 2006,
right. And then and then you wait 2 days and someone just trolls you, and yeah.
So I really like that. Like it makes me feel like you're part of a bigger like community and a bigger industry if you have that help from everyone.
Yeah, I think it's like I said, a cool concept, and we'll really hinge on getting a critical mass here. No idea how many users they've got right now, but love the idea and hope that it takes off. I think that I think Bruno made a great point when he said that eventually it's going to be seen as almost a negligence to not sell this sort of maintenance and solution to your clients. I thought that was a really interesting perspective, and I think there's some truth to that. So something to think about there. Did not get a chance to stop by Oversee Pro and get a soundbite from them, but they were showing a bunch of stuff this year that they're doing that was pretty cool. Access Networks has a monitoring solution that they're putting out there. So it just seemed like everybody was doing something in this space, and or everybody was thinking about it or partnering with somebody or talking about it. And I felt like it was kind of this undercurrent that if you weren't paying attention, you might have missed it, but it was very prominent if you were looking for it.
Hey, and you're pointing out this is very important. It is very important. Even my little example is very important. I mean, this is a client that's really important to me. It's really important. I mean, they're not even home right now. Like they are in their, summer home up north, and they're coming down maybe in another month, but I've got to make sure that everything is ready for them. So if something goes down now, I've got to make sure it works, and continues to work. And having the ability to like be there 24/7 is not an option. It's not an option for anybody at all, any other dealer in the world. Like it's something that we're going to have to start putting in on all of our projects, and something we just have to think about. Like you said, doesn't matter which one you pick. I had Domots, but I could easily have just used Krika or Oversee or any other one of these and had as good experience with getting those notifications, telling my client proactively that they were having a problem without the client coming in and living in their house and discovering the Comcast goes up and down every 15 minutes. That's not a good thing.
Right. And there's real value there. And so in this world of increasingly lower price points and commoditized home technology, this is something that's going to provide real value indefinitely in the industry. And so I think we've still got a lot of work as an industry to do in order to really adapt it and optimize it and really figure out the best ways to monetize it to the fullest of its potential. But I'm excited to see it. I think it's a great trend to see taking place, and I'm excited to keep following it as we move forward.
Yep. Well, that wraps up part one of our CEDIA coverage.
Yeah, and geez, I gotta say, Seth, we didn't really plan this, but as we were going through the sound bites, I realized these were a lot of the ones I did. I got to hear a lot of myself talking tonight.
Yeah, I noticed that too, but I've got quite a few of them for next week. So
we got quite a few of yours coming up, exactly. And like I said, we didn't really plan it; it just kind of happened that way. But we got all of my blabbing out of the way this week.
Well, next week we're going to talk a little bit about quirky and unique products that we came across during this show, and of course. Some of the like DIY type products, like Ring was there, 7 Hugs again was there, Sonos. We talked to them as well. So we're really looking forward to playing that show next week. But this week it's kind of more professional, high-end dealer focused. Next week we'll do all kind of the fun stuff I was hanging out and looking at.
Yeah, a little bit lighter, and definitely look forward to getting into that. I think it'll be enjoyable, and I thought it was a ton of interesting stories there, and definitely look forward to chatting with you next week. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in this week. A really fun episode to put together. Had a great time out in Dallas. Really felt like we covered a lot of ground. And we look forward to sharing more information with you all next week.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Take care, Seth.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Home Tech. Little Texas came along with me.
Man, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, sorry about that. It happens.